Hello and welcome to another episode of A Builder's Guide to Nuts and Bolts. In this episode we're going to have a look at the Spring Engine, which as far as I'm aware was first discovered by the YouTuber Banjo-Kazooie, who also was most certainly the one kind enough to let me know about it. The Spring Engine is, mechanically speaking, and even visually speaking, rather similar to the Hyperdrive, and in fact even uses a very similar exploit. However, the Spring Engine is more stable, easier to control, and perhaps even faster than that of the Hyperdrive. So essentially, it's better in every way. If you're using the Hyperdrive, pretty much the two speed settings are not engaged and really fast. And the only way to toggle this is to reattach the Hyperdrive, making it once more no longer functioning, or deattach it, making it go full speed. It takes a half second to a full second to kick in once the detach is detached, and it takes about the same time to reattach it when trying to turn it off. What this means is that while the Hyperdrive is really good for playing around with and going super fast from point A to B, in challenges it's pretty much useless. It moves too fast to make maneuvering in any course in any challenge really possible, and if you're trying to disengage it and re-engage it whenever you need to reorientate your vehicle, you're pretty much losing the time that you would have saved by simply not using the Hyperdrive at all. The Spring Engine, on the other hand, only works in boosts. Every time you tap whatever button you've got the boost keyed up to on the top right button select, it'll kick in and give you a speed boost. But the thing is, while still boosting, you can tap it again, which will give you another boost on top of the first boost, and well, by the second boost, you're already going pretty much faster than the Hyperdrive, and so if you just keep tapping a third and fourth and fifth time, in pretty much no time, your vehicle will be moving rather extraordinarily fast. However, since the boosts only last a short amount of time, if you need to reorientate your vehicle, you can simply stop boosting for a little bit, reposition your vehicle, and then slam the speed on again until you need to reposition once more. This means that unlike the Hyperdrive, the Spring Engine is actually useful for getting fast times in races within challenges in the game. How useful, you ask? Well, while using this goofy, non-aerodynamic and non-maneuverable vehicle that I built for tutorial purposes, I was able to beat a time in Air Coconut, previously held by what was my most fastest and maneuverable vehicle, by an entire 6 seconds. So I'd say it definitely has what I'd call potential. And without any further ado, let's get into looking at it. And at first glance, if you've watched my tutorial on the Hyperdrive engine, you've probably noticed that they look rather similar. And this is indeed because they are. They even function using a very similar exploit, namely tricking the game into making your vehicle move faster by having part of your vehicle pushed against by another part of your vehicle. In the Hyperdrive engine, this is achieved by having a row of blocks perpetually pulled into a row of wheels by two tow bars that can never quite meet up. This can cause a fair bit of strain on your vehicle, and if it blows out, is usually because your vehicle is moving too fast for the tow bar and the row of blocks become disconnected, or the row of blocks, due to them always facing strain, can also end up broken. However, Banjo-Kazooie's Spring Engine appears to circumnavigate all of these issues with strain. This is essentially because there are practically no moving parts, with the entire system once it's in place being entirely static, aside from of course the spring in the Spring Engine, which, due to not actually being a weapon but instead just a gadget, deals seemingly very little to no damage and therefore puts no strain on the part of your vehicle that you're pushing against. So rather simply, much like the Hyperdrive glitch, the vehicle needs to be in two parts. Firstly, the main part of your vehicle in which the driver's seat is attached, and then secondly, the secondary part of your vehicle which includes the spring. As you can see in this tutorial vehicle I built, I'm holding the two sections of the vehicle together by use of 3 tow bars, which is a good way to make it stable. Now, you might have noticed earlier that I said once the system's in place. This is a very important thing to take note of, because without doing so, the exploit will not work at all, and the Spring Engine, instead of making your vehicle go very fast, will instead do absolutely nothing. So, in order to circumnavigate this problem, the secondary part of your vehicle, the part with a spring on it, has to begin in the game world and indeed be designed in the garage section with the spring facing downwards. Which means once brought into the game world, the spring has to be able to go from facing downwards to facing forwards. This can be done in a slew of different ways of varying complexity, but because these tutorials are supposed to be just giving you the basics, I chose to do it in the most simple way possible, namely relying mostly on gravity and the tow bars to guide the second section into its necessary position. So there you have it, the Spring Engine. It really is just as simple as having 2 sections, a couple of tow bars and a spring, and yet for all of its simplicity, it is quite possibly the most helpful exploit yet featured on this channel. Go and play around with it in your own save, have fun, and as always, most importantly, be creative. You can do a lot of things with this glitch, and just to drop a quick hint, if you add more springs, it will make it go faster. If you would like to see a more complicated vehicle using this exploit, or if you want to see some other interesting experimentation, I highly suggest you check out Banjo-Kazooie's channel. They currently unfortunately don't have access to a capture card and, in their own words, film with a potato, but considering some of the interesting contraptions they've come up with, it's definitely worth having a look at. I mean, they discovered this exploit, so clearly they're on the ball. And hopefully I pronounced the name at least a little bit closer this time, because the last 2 times I said it, I butchered it so badly that it's mentioned in their channel description. And so with all of that said and done, thanks for watching, and until next time I have been and still am Grim Grindle, and you have been watching A Builder's Guide to Nuts and Bolts.